One Piece chapter 993 is out, and of course, per usual, it's time to talk about it and just go through it, not dissect, but just talk about some pertinent things that happened in the chapter. And we had yet another good one, but I can't help but feel like I just wanted more. But that's how I feel after every One Piece chapter, or most One Piece chapter. You know, it was a crazy cliffhanger, but again, we'll get to that. Let's talk about the cover story really quickly. And I thought we had moved on from this, but apparently not. We haven't moved on from it. We're still here with Pound and Lola and Capone. All that stuff is still happening, and apparently Gotti got married to Lola. Now, that's not something that's so far-fetched. A lot of us saw that coming. So it is what it is. Decent cover story. I mean, it's not done. It's more to come. Still not sure where Oda's going with this. It is what it is. But let's get to the chapter, shall we? So we go back to the Flower Capital, actually, and that's how the chapter starts. And initially when I'm reading, like, okay, what's going on? Is this a flashback? Is this showing us the, you know, the origin of the Fire Festival? Like, what are these things? And quickly you realize we're just going back to the Flower Capital at this time. Like, this is what's happening at the Flower Capital while all that is going down in Onigashima. It seems like this is the moment out of the year, out of every year, in which they can, you know, drink some alcohol, just celebrate. But the reason why they're celebrating isn't just to enjoy themselves. It's like a slight hope, a slight glimmer of hope that, you know, for some reason and in some way, the Kozuki samurai can, you know, relieve them or retrieve them from bondage, save their country. When you think about it, it's a very difficult thing to, you know, place yourself into that situation, because essentially this time where they're celebrating, they can't really truly be happy, because in the back of their mind, you know, it's only for a day. And you also think about the Kozuki samurai, how the Wano got taken over, you know, how you didn't believe Oden. There's so many things that you regret. It must be really difficult. So I really enjoyed that part of the chapter, because again, at first I was a bit confused as to what was going on. The more you read, the more you understand. This is giving us a glimpse into what the people of Wano, how they feel every single year. So for 2 decades at least, they've been hoping for something to change on this day. And can you imagine every single year you go to this and you're celebrating and you're just waiting for something to happen and nothing happens, but you still have some hope? That's a lot of hope, because for 2 decades, I'm like, all right, it must be over, right? It must be done. But they're still hoping, and they're still saying, man, maybe what if right now, as we celebrate, the samurai are fighting for our country and our freedom right now? What if they've gathered an army so that they can combat Kaido, and this is the moment in which our liberation is coming? I didn't mean to spend too much time on this, but it's really significant for just the history of Wano and the foundation of Wano, because it's the people at the end of the day. And this is also important because when you think back to initially when we got to Wano, that interaction between Shutenmaru and that old lady, in which she still had some hope, right? She had hope, and Shutenmaru, who was a scabbard himself, seems like he had lost hope. But for him, he had seen a lot of loss in front of him, but more, I guess, I mean, I don't want to say more than she has, but he's been on the forefront. He's been on the battlefield, and we saw the backstory for him when he lost all those people when they sailed over to defeat Kaido. They all died. Obviously, his other scabbards, Oden. Shutenmaru had lost hope. So for this, and seeing that a lot of people in Wano still feel that way, it's easy to see that these scabbards, they're fighting for things a lot more greater than themselves. They're obviously fighting for their country and, you know, for the people of Wano. So it's minuscule, but very important to what's going on in Wano right now. Very important. As expected, I'm not sure if you guys remember in, you know, a few reviews, I've been saying, when are they going to start using like chemical warfare? When are they going to start using like the gas and the things that Queen is known for? And they used it here. Queen used his ice demon. It seems like X Drake has seen it before. Like, I'm not gonna lie, seeing X Drake say, yo, that must be Queen's plague or whatever, I would like an OVA or just a backstory, just something, a callback showing us Queen, King, Jack, Kaido, just more of them and things that they went through in the past, and just to follow them for a few chapters, just to see how they are, their powers, how they come to fruition. Because the more I see them, the more I'm interested in just how they became what they are. Queen's Plague Ice Demon, very interesting because it's attacking everyone, but it seems like it turns you into like an ice zombie or whatever. In war, things like this, it's what shifts the war. Even if you're losing and you pull out something of this magnitude that can completely immobilize so many people, it's a game changer. So for Queen pulling this out at this time, obviously I don't think they're going to win the war because of this. It may push the alliance to the brink because, again, they're already outnumbered. And I think in regards to variance of power, they're outmatched as well if the Big Mom Pirates are included. So I'm not sure. That whole theory about the raid failing could come to fruition. It really could, because, I mean, Jack is out of commission right now, but if he pulls out his gas, man, I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, we saw Queen and we saw King this chapter. Jack is probably still out of commission. I don't think he's going to be out of commission the entire arc, the rest of the arc. But I wonder what he does after he comes back. We haven't seen his hybrid form yet, so that's fingers crossed for that. But seeing Queen here was cool. Queen's one of the characters I enjoy in Wano. I think he's funny. I think he's obviously strong, has some smarts as well, and he has a lot of personality to him. So I enjoy characters like that. Something that's important here as well, they showed us where Luffy is, and we got a quick map to show exactly how far they are from the rooftop. So Luffy is currently in basement 1, or rather the first floor of the basement. I thought Luffy was right there and he could get to Kaido really quickly. He has a lot to go through before he can get to Kaido. So now I'm like, okay, how long is this battle going to go on? And based on what happened at the end of the chapter, how much longer do these people have, right? The Sanji Luffy moment was hilarious, okay? Because we have this gorilla smile user. Not sure if you guys noticed. This guy had a gorilla form or spawn out of his arm. Okay, and we know for the smile users, you never know what you're gonna get. Obviously, you could get no powers and just smile for the rest of your life. But once you get powers, it could be something wacky and weird. For this guy, I don't mind it as much. He can spawn a gorilla out of his arm. The back and forth there between Sanji and the gorilla guy is funny because Sanji says, yo, the way he spawned the gorilla is so freaky. Then he says, you know what? I'm gonna show you the correct way to spawn a gorilla. And Sanji's like, I don't care, bro. But I thought it was cool, especially with Jinbei showing up as well, because Luffy and Sanji, they're arguing about Luffy, retaining his strength or trying to save his strength for the battle against Kaido. And Luffy saying, yo, Sanji, if it's just you, it's gonna take longer, right? It's the back and forth moments like that I really miss between the Straw Hats. But Jinbei showing up is perfect as well, and Sanji being a bit salty, because I'm not sure if Oda's been reading into what the fandom's been saying, like, ooh, Sanji's been replacing the monster trio. So Jinbei coming in and just defeating all these people, and Sanji's a bit salty, like, yo, I was the one who brought Luffy all the way here. And Jinbei's like, oh, my bad, bro, you got it, bro. Where Oda is establishing the dynamic between the crew, and I absolutely love it. I think we got a glimpse into Bao Huang's ability, in which is somewhat like Palm from Hunter x Hunter, in which you can see everything through something else. So I'm guessing she can see whatever's going on through this cat, whatever. So what I really liked in this chapter, as well as King taking control and telling everyone what's going on, basically they're playing chess, and King is basically saying the piece that they really have to topple is Momonosuke, because then the samurai, they're going to lose their will to fight. But he also mentioned, even if the samurai lose their will to fight, the pirates are a different story. So this tells me something about King. One, he knows about pirates, obviously because he's a pirate himself. But two, he understands the samurai and how they move and how important morale is to them. So for King, when I was live reacting, people were saying, why doesn't King just do it himself? And I'm saying, well, King is the general at this point. He's directing the forces. He's going to do something significant, but for right now, he has to tell everyone where they need to be so that they can be the most effective. Who's Who is still here. He hasn't done anything yet. Still waiting for him to do something because I think it's going to be really significant. We saw Alti as well, and it seems like they're all listening to King and they're going to move off of what he's saying. People try to compare King to Katakuri a lot. I'm like, yeah, they're comparable because they're both first commanders, I guess. And we just have to temper expectations a bit because King does not have future sight. So I think people base a lot of what King has accomplished off of what Katakuri has accomplished, but Katakuri had a broken ability. So there's a lot of time left to see what King can do, but let's try not to compare those two that way in regards to foresight, because Katakuri obviously hasn't beat there, right? Shinobu shows that she's still down for the cause and willing to die for it. We saw in the past she fought with Oden, so now she's fighting to save Momonosuke. It's all coming full circle. There's some people that don't like Shinobu because of how annoying she was to Law, but for me, I was one of those people. But I realized that everything is on the line for her now, and she's been going through this for decades. So for her being skeptical of Law and a newcomer and his crew, I understand it. But time and time again, she's shown that she's willing to die and risk it all for the Alliance, and it's shown yet again here. Sasuke's back, the Armored Corps is here. Things are getting even more explosive, man. It seemed for a while like things were winding down or things were approaching the climax. People are still yet to be involved, still yet to get involved. The Big Mom Pirates, I'm not sure what Marco's gonna do now. I'm gonna say this, Wano is far from over. Far from over, because I think even more people that we haven't seen yet are going to show up, i.e. Marines. So in my opinion, not sure what Oda has planned for chapter 1000, but I feel it building. Like I can feel every single chapter just more and more and more momentum. And I believe Oda is going to have something huge for chapter 1000. He even referenced it already. So let's talk about Kaido and the Scabbards really quickly. As I've been saying before from the beginning, Kaido has Oden PTSD. They had him on the ground. They're saying, yo, to cut his head off, cut his neck off. That's the only way we can win. And even after last week, people were trying to down Kaido, call Kaido trash, etc. I was saying, yo, this is not on Kaido. This is the Scabbards stepping up and doing their thing. But even then, Kaido was saying that even all of them together cannot measure up to Oden. Do you understand how crazy that is? Because we understand just how strong Shutenmaru is, right? Denjiro is. And he's saying not all of them are strong enough to open the wound that Oden left. And, you know, based off what happened in this chapter, people were trying to theorize, okay, Kaido said no one else would ever be as monstrous as Oden, no other samurai. And of course, people jumped to Zoro and said Zoro could be the one to reopen the wound. And I agree with that. I actually agree that Zoro could be the one to reopen the wound. Killing Kaido, not so much. But pretty much Kaido's saying, you're not Oden. Oden had a level of strength that you guys cannot attain or reach at this point. And Kaido used a new attack and apparently took off Kiku's arm. And her torso got messed up. Her sword is gone. Listen, I'm expecting a lot of death in this war. If Kiku dies, it would be impactful, but we need a bit more. However, this is the Kaido that we've been waiting to see. A different attack, and the first attack that we saw is new. Also, Kaido has used wind element, fire element, and thunder element attacks. My guy Clyde did say that Eastern dragons, they're known for using different elements. So for Kaido using all these elements, it makes sense. But again, we're far from over. Yes, the Scabbards got a bit of hype last week, and based on what they were able to do or try to accomplish, it was impressive. However, it's clear that Kaido is still Kaido. At the end of the day, he still deserves respect. It wasn't about downing him. It was more so about the Scabbards stepping up and giving it their all, and yet and still, they cannot reopen this wound that Kaido has. Guys, they're about to die. They're all going, not all of them, but most of them, not most of them, maybe a couple of them. A couple of them are gonna die. Because Kaido, he's still in his dragon form. And Kiku lost her arm. Great chapter. Great chapter. Cannot wait for 994. We're getting so close to 1,000. Guys, give me your thoughts. How do you feel about it? Let me know. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram, BragoD.Ace. Twitch tonight, we'll be talking about the chapter in depth with my guys. Link in the description down below as well. Thank you guys again so much for your support. Again, like, subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.